Hey guys, welcome back to Project Bodybuilding, here with another episode of my Pittsburgh Pro Preview Series. We'll be taking a look at several matchups in anticipation of what will probably be the best show of the 2025 bodybuilding season. Today we're departing from open comparisons, but we're actually not even going to the classic division either. Today I'm trying something completely different. This will be my first ever men's physique comparison, and I wanted to try it for this series because we have some great names in this lineup. I'd assume most people's top two for this division are now the same since Ali Bilal dropped out. We're all probably thinking this is between Aaron Banks and Brandon Hendrickson, the two Olympia champions in the lineup, and two guys that have faced off quite a bit from just the past few years. So let's get a preview, this time of my predicted top two for the men's physique division at the 2025 Pittsburgh Pro. I'll compare these two using the most recent versions, the 2023 Olympia for Brandon and the 2025 Arnold Classic for Aaron just a few weeks ago. Then I'll add a little bonus in there as well, since this comparison and all my other men's physique comparisons, if I do more, will be quite bare. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Remember, if you guys like these types of videos, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Now, the main reason I've always stayed away from men's physique, besides the fact that it's gay, is because really in open, these guys get passes for sure. They get double check marks next to shape. I can look at these two if they were just plopped and open and say, you know what, these midsections, these aesthetics, good enough. They're both 10 out of 10s, so they can just move on. We can focus on other things. But here in men's physique, we have to painstakingly split hairs and pretty much introduce some level of personal bias to try to get a winner, based on the results we see from show to show, from Olympia to Olympia, from Arnold to Arnold. So even the big shows, not even just the little shows, which there are plenty of, decisions are seemingly just made on a whim, and the results, even between the same athletes, they could have the same judges between shows, the results change on a dime. Does anyone know what they're talking about in men's physique? I highly doubt it, so I think it would be perfect for me to give you my input. So because the judges seemingly just make decisions out of nowhere, confusing everyone all the time, I can really only give you what I think, which I think is at least a somewhat competent answer. I mean, I look at physiques all day long, all the time. Not these type of physiques, but plenty of naked men go past my screen all the time. Anyway, I'm going with Brandon personally as the winner, and I mean just barely. We're talking like 51, 49%, just barely. Because again, both these guys are great. We have to really split hairs here. The reasons I prefer Brandon are pretty arbitrary, I gotta say. So the delts are more imbalanced with his arms. Again, that may not be the men's physique thing, but to my eye, that's what I prefer. He has the squarer chest, and I prefer his midsection. I would also give the lower half to Brandon. Now, this is his most recent version, which was the 2023 Olympia, which is before the shorts change, if I remember correctly. So his shorts are actually a little bit lower than they will be at Pittsburgh. They're a little bit lower than Aaron's are right here. Regardless, we all know that Brandon has better legs than Aaron. Aaron has these they're narrow. I don't want to say they're small. That's kind of mean. It's not really what I mean. He's tall, and we all know tall people have a very hard time building legs, and you have very long legs. Usually that lends itself to the exact opposite of good calves. Brandon, shorter legs, shorter frame in general, does have better quad sweeps underneath those trunks and better calves as well. The rebuttal to Brandon being the winner, I guess, would just be that Aaron is more men's physique. He does have bigger delts. He's probably smaller overall. I mean that on a muscularity pound for pound type of way. And his legs are smaller too. So some would say, well, Aaron is technically winning, even though he's losing a lot of things, because in that category, it actually means he's winning. But as we'll get to in a moment, they've both been on the same stage, bringing similar packages, and the judges have rewarded both of them over the others. So really, I think I'm justified in picking Brandon, just as much as you'd be justified picking Aaron. Thankfully, we have a very lopsided back pose. Brandon's back is just pitiful, to be honest. He's technically more conditioned, but it just doesn't hold up anywhere close to Aaron's back. Aaron's back is a lot more thick overall through the lats, and then he's just so much wider, not just through the lats, through the actual back itself, but through the shoulders. So he's probably twice as wide overall compared to Brandon, and he has really thick erectors and traps. Again, I'd like to see him a little bit more conditioned. I'd like to see these tie-ins just a little more etched in, but I mean, the sheer size of it, it just completely destroys Brandon. A pitiful back pose, all in all. Here is a little bonus front shot, again using their most recent versions, and now I actually prefer Aaron. When Aaron flexes one arm and then extends the other, the biceps and triceps, even the forearms look a lot more imbalanced with the delts, and then his chest also looks a bit fuller here, and I like his midsection more as well. And with the stance, his legs are kind of downplayed too, which helps him actually. Brandon honestly gets a little bit better in this variation too. I think his arms or delts are even more imbalanced now. Now you get a good cap to the delts, but also a good fullness on the bi and tri. He still has that square chest, the lats are popping and tapering, and he has very good midsection, of course. He does have the advantage in the legs too, but as I said, Aaron's stance kind of downplays it, so yes, it's a win for Brandon, but it's not a major loss for Aaron like it was in the other variation. We're splitting hairs again, and this is just a bonus front shot, but it does show you just one person's mind is changed on a whim, because these photos from the other ones were taken literally just seconds apart, but now I have a completely different answer. Now, because men's physique changes quite a lot, I wanted to backtrack a little to the last two shows that Aaron and Brandon have faced off at. So the last time they faced off was at the 2023 Mr. Olympia. Aaron was third and Brandon was second, and of course Ryan Terry in the middle there won. And we'll get to 2022 in a second, but there the results are changed. Aaron won the whole thing. He won the men's physique division at the 2022 Olympia with Brandon in runner-up. But anyway, here from the front in the 2023 Mr. Olympia, I prefer Brandon to Aaron. It's pretty reminiscent of the very first photo we looked at in this comparison. I prefer him through the arms, delts, and chest, and then the midsection overall is a lot more detailed and just seems to be a little bit flatter. I prefer his lower body as well. To be honest, I'd go a step further and actually put this front pose over Ryan's front pose. I think it flows better as a pose, and Brandon definitely has a better midsection compared to Ryan. Ryan has the diastasis recti, although it's not a huge deal, but the abs are also slightly unsymmetrical, and in men's physique, if you have these very small blemishes against a guy like Brandon, who has a picture-perfect set of washboard abs, these minor differences can make all the difference. So yeah, I'd actually put Brandon over Ryan. But then turn him around, and then it's completely turned on its head. Brandon is, again, just so pitiful. I don't even think Aaron is really popping a whole lot. I think his back is just kind of mid here for himself, but it still absolutely decimates Brandon. I don't even think I grabbed the most flattering photo for Aaron. He's still kind of pinched up. He's in the process of maybe opening up a little, but even him half cocking the shot is still enough to easily dwarf Brandon. Ryan, for what it's worth, is actually easily beating both, with a much more conditioned back, a much thicker back than both of them, and really good quad sweep, I might add. But now let's move on to 2022, and again, the results were changed here. And I have no idea why. Maybe subconsciously I'm just trying to agree with the judges, but I legitimately prefer Aaron here to Brandon. This doesn't make any sense. Brandon's chest, delts, and arms are the same thing compared to 2023, so I should prefer him again because he's also bringing the same midsection, same legs more or less. But Aaron does get better. His abs are just more popping than they have been in any other version we've looked at prior. I think his delts are pretty good, but not too big at this point in time, and the chest looks better too. So really, I have no idea why, but I do just kind of prefer Aaron just looking at them here. But moving to the back, I mean, how many times can I say the same thing? The back is just absolutely not up to par for Brandon. Aaron clears, of course, but I will say this is the biggest margin compared to any version we've looked at today because of condition. The very minor details like the tie-ins, the separation between these muscle groups, and just the overall pop to the back as well. All those details are better here compared to any of the other versions I used today. And this is an important note because Aaron is almost never at 100%, but when he is, he builds up his margin even more. He still probably wasn't 100% in 2022, but he was definitely closer to that, and just by being closer to that, his front got a little more polished, the back did too, and his placing was better. He actually beat Brandon here. So overall, this was a very underwhelming matchup for my inaugural men's physique comparison. And it wasn't underwhelming just because it was men's physique. I think this is a pretty easy matchup to determine a winner for. Aaron Banks is the winner of today's matchup and my predicted winner for show day. The front pose is very close, and that remained true in every iteration of the matchup that we looked at. Aaron can definitely edge Brandon out because Aaron has more of that look for the division, but Brandon to me had the better balance and core. Very minor details, but that led him to be the winner narrowly early for that pose. Either way, it's close in the front, but the back is just massive on Aaron, and it's a massive problem for Brandon. As long as Aaron is just his usual self, which to be honest most of the time just means 90%, he's good to go. And of course he just did the Arnold, so he already started this portion of his longer prep in a good place. So there's a very good chance he's going to be better than he was at the Arnold, which was already a good package, and a package I believe beats Brandon. I think in hindsight, because I'm so set on my answer, I should have made this a larger call out video. Oh well, this video is just a test, but I didn't hate making it, so there's that. But to be honest, I think Brandon could slip below second. He could absolutely win the show too, don't get me wrong, he has beaten Aaron before. But I forgot how poor Brandon's back actually was. We did use an older version for the main part of this comparison, so he will be improved, but by how much? Probably not enough to beat Aaron or even get close in that back pose. And with so many guys in this lineup bringing great front poses, I think Brandon loses his main edge. If you want great front poses but a weaker back pose, there will be plenty of guys to choose from in this lineup. Aaron, on the other hand, is pretty much on lock for a top 2 spot. He may have the best back in the show, although I'm not too familiar with this entire lineup. But in addition to a great back, he can hold his own from the front with just about anyone. Brandon can win, but also has a lower floor than Aaron, who is not only more complete, but is fitting the division better as well. Well, that's going to do it for today's video. I hope I didn't sound too out of my depth here. Again, I'm really not a fan of men's physique, nor is my knowledge even half as good as it is for the open or classic divisions, but that could definitely all change. Should I do more men's physique comparisons? And what did you think of this video? Leave me some feedback down in the comments below. And if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe for more. And if you want to get your hands on some high quality supplements while supporting the channel even further, be sure to head over to Arms Race Nutrition. Then at checkout, use my code PROJECT10 to get 10% off your entire order. That's code PROJECT10 at armsracenutrition.com. And finally, with all that said, I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.
Get Alexia.